Right? All right. We are live.
All right,
We're ready to go.
let's do it. Excited to have everyone. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday. Excited for today's program. We're going to start off with the great Tim O'Rourke giving us his update. He's excited and going to be fast and furious. So, Tim, we'll turn it over to you to start us.
Hey, thanks, Jody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Interesting things going on. Everything's kind of quiet here towards the end of the year. It's been a great year in a lot of ways for financial markets, as everybody's probably noted. We've seen interest rates go up. Now we've seen a change in the Federal Reserve's path of lowering rates. But now the big question is what's going to happen on December 18th. We've seen rates come down as the expectation after they've dropped rates recently. The expectation is they're going to drop another quarter points here on December 18th. So we're going to obviously be watching very closely to what their reaction is going to be and what their path is going to be. The inflation numbers came out pretty much what was expected. So inflation isn't dropping, it's kind of staying steady. And if you do the numbers, now the interesting thing about inflation is that if you think back how much money has been printed and shoved into the economy, and literally I mean shoved by the amount of money that was created out of thin air and just put into the economy because of COVID and then all the programs, you can actually do a put it on the whiteboard and I can show you exactly how much inflation was going to be. We saw inflation over 9% there in one year. And if you total it all up, it actually adds up to the amount of capital that was infused into the market. So we're still expect another 3.5% inflation here per year going forward, and at the rate of the $2 trillion excess spending that we have built into the federal budget, we're going to see that we're not going to be down to that 2% inflation number anytime soon. And according to the calculation, that's my take on it. So food prices obviously are the big one that everybody's concerned about. Inflation came in around 2.7 in November. So if you annualize that out, it's still going to be, I think, around that 3% number. So the markets are trying to digest that, what that means. And then you got the tech sector effect. If anything happens to NVIDIA, what's the fallout of that in the market? We've had a great year so far and it's holding up. And what does 2025 look like? There's a lot of unknowns there and a lot of variables that could affect it. So we've been on this 15 going on 16 year in a bull market. So a lot of things there to consider and watch, and we'll just see how that plays out. I don't expect anything to happen the remainder of this year in December. I think it'll be kind of a flat year. One of the interesting things I read, I want to switch gears here, Kimberly. I thought this was interesting. We always talk about the great wealth transfer that we're going to be in the middle of as we see one generation pass it on to others. Jody and Kimberly and Zach and all of us talked about this amount of money that's going to transfer and change hands. Let's call it 100 plus 125 trillion dollars by 2050 from now over the next 25, 20, 24, 23 years is going to change hands from one generation to the next. And a big number of that, 105 trillion of that is going to flow to, the different heirs. Around 54 trillion will actually pass to the spouses. So that transferring intergenerationally will be paused a little bit, but eventually the women in our, I guess in our country, are going to basically be in control of a lot of the wealth in this country. And so if that makes you think about when you're dealing with families and couples, you're always thinking about you're talking to both couples, but you're creating a relationship there long term with a lot sometimes the females in that couple are the ones that are going to be, widowed women, and a lot of times are going to have control of a lot of that wealth. And so you want to make sure that they're protected, that the male is properly insured. So you're having that kind of conversation. It's not a bad conversation to have in many instances. And what you're trying to do is protect the family unit, whoever is the income earner. Sometimes it's a female, sometimes it's a male, but whoever it is, I think knowing that in the back of your head of how that wealth transfer effect is, I think is going to play into your conversation. So that's something I just wanted to point out and think about. Other than that, Kimberly, I'm going to turn it back to you because I think this month is going to be kind of quiet as far as my perspective is, and it's going to be interesting to see what the Federal Reserve does on the 18th. So we're going to kind of hang out, and hopefully next week I'll have a lot more to talk about it this time.
Well, we appreciate you giving us that market update on a weekly basis, and obviously in the text group or the WhatsApp group on a daily basis. We appreciate that very, very much. It gives us talking points and just kind of clues us into what's happening in the world. I think your point about not just including women and spouses in the conversation, but really making sure that they're included and making sure that they understand. I think you'll see a lot of that. A lot of the spouses and wives and women, because we're going to live longer, right, will inherit that money. And some statistics that I've seen is that traditionally, the husband has handled the finances and the money and the things like that, and the wives haven't really been involved with a financial advisor. And when that money does transfer to the wife, there's no relationship there. So she goes and finds somebody else that she identifies with. So I think it's very important for all of us to remember that when we're dealing with our clients, that it's definitely a family affair and a conversation, and everybody that's involved is included, because at some point, whether it's the husband or the wife, you probably will be dealing with just one of them. So good point for that. Thank you, Tim.
Exactly. All right.
Thank you, Tim. Have a great holiday season. Also, one of the things I wanted to point out on that is that, he made the point that there will probably be a little bit quiet on some of the things that he focuses on with us. I want you to know that there's getting ready to be a lot of noise from us. We're on full scale attack on distribution and production. We had a great State of the Union call this past week with our CEO and founder, Hubert, and great news on so many fronts. So the company's up almost 50% in terms of submitted premium and about 30% on paid business, issued business. We're really going to go. We're going to go on a distribution attack like no one's ever seen, which is that we're going to go on a recruiting attack, and that does tie to these calls, because I want you to have the confidence that what we do is right for families and that you can go help others. So with that in mind, we're going to get into the subject today, and I'm very excited about it. I'll be ready to learn. And basically what it's going to be is that you've done the needs analysis. You've already done, recruiting and building. And now you're sitting down with the consumer, whether it's internal consumption or external consumption. Now we're getting ready to move that money, and you've identified that there is money there. What do you do then? And I think one of the lowest hanging fruits, one of the easiest things that's out there, is money that needs to be moved from where it is into these products that we're going to talk about today. But I want you to have the confidence and know how to find it. But once you see it kind of identified, because there's a couple of different things that can happen. I mean, I liken this to, we want people to, we want to simplify this business. One of the things we're going to work on as a leadership team is to simplify everything, simplify the sales process, simplify the recruiting process, simplify all of it. And this is one of those parts. If you ever watch a sports game, in the beginning of a big football game, you'll know the coach has this laminated sheet. And on this laminated sheet that they're holding, and the 2 or 3 guys around him are looking at, they know that if X happens, they do Y. And so we want to help you today to know, when you're sitting down with families, that have money that are looking to go into the annuity world. One's why an annuity, but secondly, is what path to take them on. So Kimberly's going to lead that conversation. So I'll turn it over to you, Kimberly.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much. And I definitely think Tim was talking about it being a quiet month. Obviously, he's talking about it from the markets and that perspective. But I think clients are moving right now. They are active. They are excited. They want to get their life in order. I can tell you that December for us personally will probably be the biggest month of the year for us. January, February, I don't know, we'll have to see. Hopefully we can just continue to double it. But I know December, for annuities specifically, we have several clients, and Zach's on here too. I haven't heard his recap from his appointment today, but we have somewhere between, I would say, 2 and 5 million, depending on his conversation today, that should move, hopefully in December, but at least between December and January, to annuities, because it makes sense for the client. It's what they're looking for. And that's big money, right? It's big money for them. It puts their plans in place, but it's also a big commission, big money for us. So before we talk about, well, all right. So I think, in my opinion, and again, this is my opinion, I know there are plenty of advisors on here that have just as much time under their belt and client servicing and all of that as I do. But in my opinion, there are 2 reasons for an annuity. Number one is because they want to guarantee that money, and they don't ever want to lose it, and they want that possibility for growth, for accumulation. Number 2 is they want to guarantee their income. They want to know that they will never outlive their income. And really, those are the 2 reasons, in my opinion, to use an annuity, right? I want to grow my money with guarantees against loss safely on accumulation, or I want to turn on a pension. I want to guarantee my income. I want to know that I'm going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks or once a month, like I did for my entire career. I want to be able to guarantee that and bank on that, because when I retire, I don't want to have to go back to work. And those are the two ways that I use annuities, that I talk to my clients about using annuities, that I teach my team about using annuities. We have so many amazing product providers, so many of them. You guys, you see the emails about it. Hopefully you'll all be at Top Gun. If you aren't, then I'm wagging my finger saying shame on you, because this is your business and you should invest in yourself. And you will have a world of knowledge and just connections and experiences and people that you can call on with more knowledge than any of us on the screen, probably, at least about their respective products and things like that. But we have tons of annuity providers. And you guys can choose the ones that you like best for those 2 areas, accumulation and income. I'm going to tell you the 2 that we use most often in our team. The accumulation piece is, and Jody, you'll have to interject. I know you have specific things that you want me to say. So you can interject as you see fit to have this conversation. But on the accumulation piece, that means I just want to grow my money, but I want to grow it without volatility, right? I want to guarantee myself against loss, and I just want to grow my money. We typically use the F&G, I think it's called Performance Pro. Yeah, I think it's the F&G Performance Pro. That particular annuity has a 15% bonus on your initial deposit. So if I put $100,000 into that account today, tomorrow I have $115,000. Wait, is that right? Is that 15%? Is that funny that is it 50? Yeah, okay, thank you. See, you guys make me do math live. It's not really fun. Anyway, so that
That's
means
not hard math.
Shut up, Zach. Well, you come do this. I didn't think it was either, but I was questioning myself. I wanted them to be a
I
little.
even knew that one.
I wanted them to be a little richer than 15,000. But anyway, all right. So you put $100,000 in, you get a 15% bonus. You've got $115,000 day one participating in the growth of that account. That's a big deal, right? When you can, anytime you can have more money up front growing for the entire term of the contract, that matters. That's a really big deal. That's the one that I like for accumulation and for people that are not looking to turn on an income stream yet. Who might that be? It depends, right? you might have someone that's super young that has maybe they got an inheritance or they got a lottery winning or something like that, and they've got a big lump sum that they want to grow it, but they're not ready to turn on income stream yet, right? Maybe that's the situation. Or maybe you've got someone that's older that's closer to retirement. They're not quite there yet, but they have a smaller amount, but they don't want to lose it. They want to grow it, but it's not time to make that money become an income stream because there's not enough there to actually matter on an income stream. Maybe that's where I would use that piece. The other one that I use a lot, and that's where probably most of this money is going to go currently, is the Nationwide partnered with the Nexus New Heights annuity. I love that annuity. I think it's fantastic. So the difference is this annuity is going to guarantee their income. While you can guarantee income on Performance Pro, the bonus with Nationwide is on the actual income stream. So if I put $100,000 in Nationwide in this Nexus annuity, now I've got $130,000 that I can pull income off of. My account value is still $100,000, if that makes sense to you guys, but my income stream, I can pull income off of $130,000. That annuity gives you a 30% bonus immediately on your income stream, right? And then it's going to guarantee you an 8% compounded roll up every single year for a 10-year period of time, or until you start pulling that income. And when you pull that income and guarantee yourself, then obviously that's when that 8% compounding stops. Is it possible to get more than 8% on that product? Yes, depending on what the index does, it is possible. But at minimum, you can guarantee that if your client is looking for income, that you can give them a 30% bonus on their income day one. And you can give them a guaranteed 8% roll up until they start accessing that. So I want to show you guys, to me, I think presentations and numbers and all of that make a lot more sense when I see it. So I want to show you guys what I look at when I look at this particular annuity. Before I do that, some of you have been around long enough to remember when we had Tom Hegna as a guest at our national conference. And he's an annuity speaker, salesperson, insurance guy, was in the field forever, and now he's just a trainer. But he has this presentation called Paychecks and Playchecks. And I think it's fantastic. So this is a story that I use a lot with my clients, and I think it's one that would resonate with all of you guys as well. So most of us through our career have a paycheck, right? Every 2 weeks, once a month, however you're paid, we get a paycheck, and that paycheck comes in systematically, right? We go to work, we get a paycheck. We go to work, we get a paycheck. And we use a portion of that paycheck to take out to invest, right? So we're investing out of that paycheck every single month. But what happens at the end of the day when it's time to retire, when I'm ready to live my wildest dreams, and I don't have a paycheck anymore? That's where I have to take all of that money that I've saved and I have to turn it into an income stream. And if I don't turn it into an income stream, then I have some volatility, right, to how much I can actually pull off. We've heard about the 4% rule. If you have $1 million for your retirement lump sum, and you want to guarantee your retirement for a 30-year period, probability says you can pull 4% per year without depleting your asset and live for a 30-year period with that income. Well, $1 million at 4% is only $40,000 a year. I don't think that makes anyone very excited. And I don't know many people that could live off of a $40,000 a year income. But that's what our numbers are based off of. So I want to show you an alternative to that 4% rule, but also a guarantee that says when I'm ready to retire, I want to know how much money at minimum is coming in on a monthly basis every single month that will never go down. My Social Security, my pensions, and my fixed indexed annuities, right? With that guaranteed income stream. How much is coming to me? So I know at minimum what my monthly paycheck is going to be, right? So that's where the paychecks come in. If you've got more money than necessary, for your paychecks, then that's where you have your playchecks. That's the money that you take cruises around the world and build a house and go on vacation and do all of those things. But at minimum, we want to make sure during retirement that our paychecks are taken care of, that our bills are paid. We don't want to have to retire for a minute and then go back to work because we pull 50,000 here and 25,000 here and 75,000 here, and we have no rule and we have no systematic way of pulling income. So I'm going to show you guys on here. This is, if you go into your back office to Aristotle, you go into business, you go into product providers, and then to Annexus, you can click on My Annexus. And inside My Annexus, you've got Nationwide, Athena, and North American. But I use this quite often. So the first thing that I'll show you is this guaranteed income tool. So if I want to know how much money my client can expect to receive on an annual basis from the money that they have, I can simply click this. It is very, very, very simple. So let's say I have 250,000 that I've saved up. I'm not married, I'm single, I'm not worried about joint income. I'm 55 now, and it's perfect timing for me to look at an annuity for the lump sum that I have because I have time to allow that to grow for my income stream. And I don't want to pull my income for 7 years. All right, how much can I pull for the rest of my life guaranteed on a monthly basis? I can tell you that guaranteed in 7 years, this particular client can pull $26,000 a year every single year for the next for the rest of their life, regardless of how many years it is, even if they deplete this asset because of this benefit, because of this rider. That's a big peace of mind. And you can see on here how this works. So if I put $250,000 in day one, right, then I can pull income off of 325,000 because that is my bonus on my contract. You can see that pulled up there. 250,000 on a purchase payment, 75,000 on a bonus. So I can pull income. In this particular product, you have to wait at least a year to pull income. That's why you don't see that until the next year. But you can see every year you've got that 8% compounded roll up on your income bucket. Your money might not earn that much, but your income is guaranteed to earn that much every single year. And you can see that in year 7, I'm pulling income guaranteed at minimum off of $556,000, $557,000, when 7 years ago I only had 250,000. That's huge. That's significant. That means that I'm guaranteeing myself $26,000 a year for the rest of my life. Can I live forever off of $26,000 a year? Probably not. But hopefully I've got Social Security and maybe other savings, a pension, something like that I can supplement my income with. If I wait until longer, if I wait until I'm 65, then I can guarantee myself almost $10,000 a year more, right? $34,000 a year for the rest of my life. So to me, this is huge. The other thing that I really like to show clients, and I think these illustrations do an excellent job with this, is this 4% withdrawal flyer. People say, okay, well, I've got my money in the market, so I'm only 55. I'm going to wait 7 years and allow my money to grow. And in 7 years, we're going to do this annuity and guarantee my income. Okay, that is an option. What does it look like if I do? So they've got a 4% withdrawal flyer and they've got a growth versus guarantees. We're going to look at the growth versus guarantees first, because to me, I think it blows clients' minds every time they see this. So this is a client showing, they had that $250,000 that they put into this account. Day one, I don't know what Zach's texting me, so I have to see. Oh, you can't see my screen? Can you see my screen or no? Can you guys?
Yes,
I can now. We were
Yes, we can.
Okay.
attachments. Now we can see it. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, if that happens again, just unmute because then you confuse me. Okay. All right. So I like this flyer very much, this growth versus roll up. So this is saying I've got $250,000. I'm putting it in this annuity. How does it compare to a traditional portfolio? How does it compare to the I want to put this in the market, let it grow for another 7 years as much as it will, and then I'll do this annuity. Let's look at it and see. So with a $250,000 investment, we've already talked about initially that benefit base is 325. It's going to compound by 8% every single year. So let's look at year one. At the end of year one, I can guarantee my income of $351,000 at minimum, guaranteed. If I had $250,000 in the market, my portfolio would have to return 40.40% in order to equal that 351,000 that I guaranteed in this product had the ability to pull income off of. So let's say that we wait for 7 years, like this client says that they want to do. I can guarantee in 7 years in this product that they can pull income off $556,000. If they put that $250,000 in the market, they would have had to earn a 12.12% return every single year for 7 years, not once, every single year for 7 years to equal the amount of money that I can guarantee them today. Is it probable that they're going to earn at minimum 12.12% every single year for 7 years? Probably not, right? So when we're talking about retirement, when we're talking about risk, when we're talking about guarantees, if you're that close to retirement within 10 years, why not guarantee your income off of at least a portion of your money? To me, it just makes sense. If you roll this out all the way, for that 10-year period of time, it shows that you would have to earn 10.87% every single year for a 10-year period of time to equal the $700,000 that I can guarantee you with zero variables you can pull income off of in 10 years based on this product. To me, that's a slam dunk. To me, that's a mic drop. Like there's no question. Like I don't even know why we would continue having this conversation if that's where you are in retirement. I also like this 4% withdrawal flyer. And it's important to know that these things are here so you can look at that, right? So in a traditional investment account, remember we're talking about the market account where you can pull 4% per year guaranteed for that 30-year period of time, or probability says you can pull it for that 30-year period of time, or I can absolutely in this annuity guarantee my income. What is better, right? So in this example, if I put in $250,000 and I assume a 6% annual growth in the market, then you can see what that looks like, right? So year one on my market account, I can pull 10,000, sorry, my thing's not working, but I can pull $10,600. I can guarantee my income for the rest of my life in my annuity at $15,000, $15,620. So half as much more by putting it in the annuity than this, right? So what if we wait for that 10-year period of time? I've got $250,000 in the market at a 6% annual growth rate, meaning we don't have any of those drops and dips and all that. It's just consistently 6%. I'm going to have $447,000 in my market account. So almost double what I had. That's great and all, right? But at 4%, that means I can only pull $17,900 a year systematically and not outlive my income based on the 4% rule and probability, right? Vice versa, I look at the same $250,000 in this Annexus nationwide guaranteed income annuity, and I can guarantee myself almost $34,662 every single year for the rest of my life with zero variables. It's more income. Why would I not guarantee myself this? So in here it says that the select bonus could provide 94% more income than the traditional strategy over the withdrawal part of your life. So to me, I think this is a no-brainer. I think there's zero question that when people are ready to retire, they need to guarantee a portion of their income. To me, it makes no sense not to. I want to know that my bills are paid, my bases are covered, and anything over and above that, like I said, go play, right? Go and invest in the market. Go take world cruises. Go buy Bitcoin. I don't care what you do with it. Give it all to all your neighbors. It doesn't matter to me. But the only way you can do something like that is because you know that everything else is taken care of by your paychecks. And this is a great way to create a paycheck. I'll kind of give you a quick client example of a current client of mine. And I did this with my team the other day, just to kind of give them an idea of how does this work in the real world, right? Like, how do I have these conversations? This to me isn't a conversation where I'm going to go out and say, hey, you want to guarantee your income at retirement? Unless I'm in like a retirement seminar or something like that, right? My conversations are much more casual and much more normal. So we had dinner with a group of people that had been in the same like entity that I was in for a couple of years, and we had a farewell dinner for one of our friends that was leaving that group, right? And she was moving away. So we had dinner. One of the ladies was talking about her husband retiring and wanted to retire from teaching. Um, Obviously, Zach and I used to be school teachers, and it's something we know a little bit about. But through her conversation, I just heard some bits and pieces, and I was like, wow, we should really talk about that. I think he can retire much sooner than you think you can. And she's like, you think so? Really? I was like, yeah, let's talk about it. She's like, okay, let me make sure I've got your number and we'll connect. The rest of that night was dinner. It was friendship. It was hanging out. It was having conversation and community. It was not hard pressure closing an annuity sale, right? It was just having that seed planted and then making sure we had numbers to connect later. Later, I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get a text, right? Most of us would assume that that means that they're not interested. But in reality, it just means everybody's busy and life is busy. So I shot a text and I was like, hey, I was just thinking about this. I know we said we're going to get together. We should probably put it on our calendars to make sure this happens. Oh, yes, great. I meant to reach out to you. Just been busy. Case in point. So we put a time on the schedule. When I went down and when I went to sit down with them, obviously husband and wife together, sit down with them, the conversation was about allowing him to leave teaching and what pension was there and what that was, what options were. And I just said, in order for me to really kind of give you an idea of everything, we should take a snapshot of where you are right now. I know what your goals are. I know his goal's ready to leave teaching. You want to quit working in the next 5 to 7 years. Can you? And they're like, I think so. I think we're good. I don't know. Let's see. Right. And so I sat down, I did a full F&A. You guys have heard me go through that process before, but it's basically, what are your goals and dreams? What do you want to be when you grow up? What does that look like? For them, it was retirement. It was taking care of kids. It was a trip to Italy, right? All these magical, amazing things. But the reality is they probably haven't saved enough for retirement. Um, they have good lump sums, but they don't have enough if they're pulling that 4% rule. They make probably $200,000 a year between the two of them. So if we back that out, and this is just a quick tip, 200,000 times 25, I think. Yeah, they'd have to have $5 million in order to retire with a $200,000 guaranteed income for the rest of their life. They don't have $5 million. So what can we do? How can we get them as close to that guarantee so that when they do retire, they know what their goals are, right? They know what their bills are. They know that they don't have to go back to work. And through those conversations, we talked about Social Security and we got those numbers from them to say, all right, this is when you can pull this money when. We talked about his teacher pension that he wasn't even clear that he had. He thought he had like $100,000 there that he was going to pull and invest with his other IRA. In reality, it turns out that he has almost $2,500 a month guaranteed for the rest of his life coming in from that teacher pension. So thank goodness he didn't pull out that pension. If you ever have a client that has a pension, do not move that money. Unless for some reason it just makes more sense in an annuity, which I've never seen one do, let that pension work for them. You'll make so much more through everything else and their referrals and all of that. I could never have given him a $2,500 a year for the rest, or $2,500 a month for the rest of his life guaranteed income stream ever on that $100,000 that he had sitting there. But also good news, we found out that his back pay was actually retroactive to last October when he was eligible to pull this money. So now he's going to have a $35,000 lump sum that's coming into him. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to go to Italy. Who do they love? They love me, right? Because they had no idea that this money was there. And now they're checking these boxes and things that were dreams that they didn't think they really could do. And mind you, I've not made a penny yet. I don't get paid on any of that. Makes me feel good, gives me warm fuzzies, but I don't get paid on any of that. But because we continued that conversation, I know that we'll probably put a big chunk, probably 5 to 600,000 at Nationwide to guarantee that income stream. And I also know that the life insurance policies that they have, we can extend them, we can replace them and give them 5 more years than what they currently have. And we can give them living benefits, and we can save them about $3,000 a year. So we've been able to check all of these boxes with this client because I've just had a conversation. And I didn't go after them and like as soon as she said retirement, I didn't be like, oh my God, and just like attach myself to her. It was a very casual, real relationship and conversation. But she also wasn't a client prior to that meeting. We had never had a professional, client relationship. We worked side by side in a nonprofit, so it wasn't anything where she looked to me for financial advice or anything like that. She knew what I did, but she wasn't a client. So that's a real life example of how you can help people, right? And the conversations that you have. I'll give you one other quick one. Gail's heard the story 3,000 times. I've been licensed to sell health insurance for 22 years. I've never sold a single health insurance policy. I've never wanted to be in that world. Still don't really want to be in that world. But now we have it through HGI. And I think as a leader, if your team comes and asks you how to sell health insurance, you need to know how to sell health insurance. I don't want to sell health insurance, but anyway. So I have the ability to sell health insurance and I'm figuring it out. Not because I'm going to make a fortune, because I get paid like $25 a client, like it's a nightmare. But anyway, there was this lady that found me on a mom swap group in Charleston and reached out to me and said, hey, I heard you could help. Actually, hers was with Medicare. And I was like, yeah, great, I can. And a guy on Gail's team does Medicare. I don't do Medicare. I don't know how to do Medicare, but I do have a guy that does Medicare. So guess what I did? I connected to him, connected her to him, and I was on that Zoom call as well. So I could guide the conversation, I could continue to build that relationship, and I could be the liaison between those two. From that, and I've talked to her for hours since then, she loves me. She was really upset with her current advisor and was telling me all about her money and the loss of her money and what she didn't expect. Obviously, Medicare, she's older and doesn't have the ability to really grow any more money. So what does she do? So now, because I said, yes, I can help her, or someone on my team can help her with her Medicare, that's $100,000 annuity that we have that I know for her, I can guarantee $8,500 a year for the rest of her life. For her, that's a really, really, really big deal because she lives on a fixed income, and an extra $800 a month for her is life-changing. So keep your ears open, have conversations. Don't go in just to sell something. Go in to create a relationship and to give education and to give advice when it's needed, when it's asked for. And I promise you, good things just fall in your lap when you do that, and you're there to to be a sounding board. And sometimes you don't know why you're doing this, right? Like sometimes you don't get paid for anything and nothing may come of it. But I promise you, at some point it always does. It always comes back around. So I hope that gives you some ideas of how annuities work and where you should use them. Again, we have plenty of income annuities from all of our carriers. We've got plenty of bonus annuities from our other carriers. Decide the ones that you like or use the ones that I do, but don't overcomplicate it and try to search out 10 annuities for an income annuity, 10 annuities for an accumulation annuity, because a confused mind does nothing. And if you have all of these pieces that you're not really sure what you're looking at, a lot of times you can't sell the product because you don't understand what you're doing. Jody?
Yeah, a couple of things on that. One is that any of the annuities from a company perspective that you sell are going to be world class. Now you've got to have the right product doing the right thing, meaning that you got to have the income with the income need and the accumulation with the accumulation need. But from a company perspective, they're all great. They really are. They're all world class. Mm-hmm. And honestly, if you listen to each one of those people, you would be convinced they were the best. Whoever we had on here. If I had F&G on here, you'd all hang up going, oh my God, we need to sell F&G. If we had a Nexus the next week, you'd be saying the same thing with them, Same thing with the North America. They're all fantastic.
Lincoln Financial, Athene, all of them are amazing.
All of them. They are all world-class companies that are going to deliver what they say that they're going to deliver. Okay. Hey, and then finally, speaking of which, I got Mr. Corbett just walked in beside me here. Okay. So, but I am, but with the other thing I was going to tell you real quick on that is with the wealth transfer that's taking place that we talked about. You know, whenever Tim talked about the fact that there's whatever $100 trillion moving, and you're like, well, I don't even know what that means. Here's what it means. It's just what Kimberly said. Okay, she was there, and she realized she had the listing skills, and it's what I want you to take away from what we talked about today. Knowing how to hear when money's moving. If money, what does that mean? If somebody's leaving a job or having a major career change, money's moving. If someone's having a baby, if somebody's getting married, if somebody's moving, if somebody's getting divorced, if there's a death in the family, in all those circumstances, money's moving. So have your ears open. Develop the relationship. The more you develop the relationship, the more likely it is that you're going to do business with them. And there was great information today. We'll keep it coming. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for doing a world-class job, guys. And we'll end for today, unless somebody has just a question that's jumping off the page. So anybody have a question?
I have a question, Jody.
Go ahead, Ep.
All right. So yesterday I met with a client. She has $100,000 lump sum. And she asked me about an IUL originally. And I spoke with Matt. He helped me put together an illustration. So I'm meeting with her yesterday, and a couple of questions she asked, and then I start asking, I don't know if a IUL is the right thing for her. It may be an annuity, how you just explained it, Kim. She wasn't really looking for the policy to give her retirement. She's more so looking for somewhere to put this money and it grows for her, and she can pull money out and not have to worry about paying it back. So I guess that's accumulation. But when I broke down the IUL for her, it was almost like, I'm not sure if this is exactly what I want. And then she asked me about percentages as far as how much it's going to grow. And then I know clients sometimes say things if they're not sure, but she said that she met with someone from Nationwide a couple years ago, and they guaranteed her 14% on the IUL, and she felt like the IUL I presented her was pretty low. And from there, I kind of got stumped because I'm not sure exactly what she wants. I just know she has this lump sum, and then she's trying to figure out what to do with it.
Well, I definitely don't think, and if they did guarantee her 14% on an IUL, then I can't imagine, right? I'm sure she misheard.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I asked her, I said, well, do you have that illustration? Because, I'm like, okay, you probably heard one thing.
Well, they
and
might have
probably said
illustrated
another.
it that way. Like in the past, especially on variable products, you could illustrate high returns.
Okay.
So they might have illustrated it that way, but it doesn't mean that was what it was going to guarantee. And I would, anytime you have someone say something like that, I would confidently, respectfully say, either you misheard or, I've never seen anything like that. I don't think anything out there is like that. The only time I can ever say guarantee is with a fixed product, because they actually have the guarantees written in. But ultimately, maybe an IUL isn't for her because you're going to have to fund it. You've got the ongoing cost, right? Things like that. And maybe the income annuity isn't for her because she's not looking for income. She's looking to grow it, but at least from what you said, and access it when she needs it or she wants it, but not necessarily on a systematic income basis. And if that's the case, then look at an accumulation annuity. Obviously, F&G has the one with a 15% bonus. And I think there's one through North American, and I'll just click it really quick. I don't know this one because I haven't really studied it, but I saw it come across yesterday. So North American through Annexus has a 22% premium bonus. I'm assuming that means on the actual money, not on the income. But look at that one as well, you know, just to see. But maybe that's more of what she's looking for is, okay, I put $100,000 in. Now I've got 115,000 guaranteed, right, at minimum. And then it's going to be slow and steady growth. I mean, are there years where you can have better performance? Yes, of course. But I usually tell people, and those are the words that I use about an annuity. I usually say, you know, it's probably going to be slow and steady growth. You're not going to have crazy market returns, but you are also aren't going to have crazy market losses. And just kind of put it to them that way. But yeah, I
And
think
one other piece on that, Ebony, is that how old is this person?
38.
Because that changes a lot. I mean, because obviously the older they are, the less an IUL would be as attractive for most people. What's her income potential now? Does she have money? Is she making good money?
Yeah, she makes good money.
So how much a month can she afford to put away, or is she willing to put into something?
So what we had talked about yesterday was that if she took that 100,000 and then paid into, for example, the IUL, paid an annual premium of 20,000 per year for the next for the next couple of years, and then after that, Matt had to set it up where she was put only contributing $300 a month, which then she said, okay, well, I can do more than that because she's looking more at the accumulation. She wants to see a bigger number.
I mean,
Right, and then the other side, of it, we can talk a little bit more about it, you know, one on one. But the other this things in general to look at is that do they understand the tax implications? For example, you know, something may look like more money up front, but it's not because the tax is on the backside. You know, all those kinds of things. So we'll have a conversation on that one, and then we'll come back on air and kind of once we put our heads to it, you know, come back on air and tell people what we thought. So that's a great example.
and the other thing to remember, she wants to see more money, and the only way to show her more money on 100,000 is to show her a bigger rate of return. But that isn't accurate, and it isn't true. So she doesn't have what she can't find what she's looking for. Somebody might show it to her, but it doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Okay, I'll get with you, Jody.
Yeah, let's do it, and then we'll loop Kimberly in. We'll put the brains together to help you.
Okay,
Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody being on. We're gonna say amen for today, and very excited for the things that are going on, opening up new offices here in New Jersey, and just opening around the country. Let's go on a full out attack. Open your mouths. Everybody's looking for us. And the last thing I will say is that you know how most people we usually buy a product after someone's talked to them 5 or 6 times. Well, there's people who've heard about all these concepts 5 or 6 times, and whoever talks to them next, that's who they're going to buy from. So let's go let it be you. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Bye, guys.